Dinner time, Jeremiah 17. The sin of Yehuda is written with a pen of iron, engraved with the point of a diamond on the tablet of their heart, and on the horns of your slaughter places. While their children remember their slaughter places and their Asherim by the spreading trees on the high hills. My mountain in the field I give as plunder your wealth, all your treasures, your high places of sin throughout all your borders. And you, even of yourself, shall let go of your inheritance which I give you, and I shall make you serve your enemies in a land which you have not known. For you have kindled a fire in my displeasure which burns forever. Thus said Jehovah, cursed is the man who trusts in man and makes flesh his arm, and whose heart turns away from Jehovah. For he shall be like a shrub in the desert, and not see when good comes, and shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, a salt land which is not inhabited. Blessed is the man who trusts in Jehovah, and whose trust is Jehovah. For he shall be like a tree planted by the waters, which spreads out its roots by the river, and does not see when heat comes. And his leaf shall be green, and in the year of drought he is not anxious, nor does he cease from yielding fruit. The heart is crooked above all, and desperately sick. Who shall know it? I, Jehovah, search the heart. I try the kidneys, and give every man according to his ways, according to the fruit of his deeds. As a partridge that broads, but does not hatch, so is he who gets riches, but not by right. It leaves him in the midst of his days, and at his end he is a fool. An esteemed throne, exalted from the beginning, is the place of our set-apart place. O Jehovah, the expectation of Yisrael, all who forsake you are put to shame. Those who depart from me shall be written in the earth, because they have forsaken Jehovah, the fountain of living waters. Heal me, O Jehovah, so that I am healed. Save me, so that I am saved, for you are my praise. See, they say to me, where is the word of Jehovah? Let it come now. And I have not run away from being a shepherd who follows you, nor have I longed for the desperately sick day. You yourselves have known that which come out of my lips was before you. Do not be a ruin to me. You are my shelter in the day of evil. Let these who persecute me be put to shame, but do not let me be put to shame. Let them be broken, but do not let me be broken. Bring on them the day of evil, and destroy them with double destruction. Then Jehovah said to me, go and stand in the gate of the children of the people, by which the sovereigns of Yehuda come in and by which they go out, and in all the gates of Yerushalayim. And you shall say to them, hear the word of Jehovah, the sovereigns of Yehuda and all the inhabitants of Yerushalayim who enter by these gates. Thus said Jehovah, guard yourselves and bear no burden on the Sabbath day, nor bring it in by the gates of Yerushalayim, nor take a burden out of your houses on the Sabbath day, nor do any work. And you shall set apart the Sabbath day, as I commanded your fathers. But they did not obey or incline their ear, and they made their necks stiff, not to hear and not to receive instruction. And it shall be, if you diligently obey me, declares Jehovah, to bring in no burden through the gates of this city on the Sabbath day, and set apart the Sabbath day to do no work in it. Then sovereigns and heads sitting on the throne of David shall enter in through the gates of this city, riding in chariots and on horses, they and their heads. The men of Yehuda and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and this city shall be inhabited forever. And they shall come from the cities of Yehuda, and from the places around Jerusalem, and from the land of Benjamin, and from the low country, from the mountains, and from the south, bringing ascending offerings and slaughterings, grain offerings and incense, bringing offerings of praise to the house of Jehovah. But if you do not obey me, to set apart the Sabbath day, and not to bear a burden when entering the gates of Jerusalem on the Sabbath day, then I shall kindle a fire in its gates, and it shall consume the palaces of Jerusalem, and not be quenched. The word which came to Yirmiyahu from Jehovah, saying, Arise and go down to the potter's house, and there I let you hear my words. So I went down to the potter's house, and saw him doing a piece of work on the wheel. And the vessel that he made of clay was ruined in the hand of the potter. So he remade it into another vessel, as it seemed good to the potter to do. Then the word of Jehovah came to me, saying, O house of Israel, am I not able to do with you as this potter, declares Jehovah? Look, as the clay is in the hand of the potter, so are you in my hand, O house of Israel. The moment I speak concerning a nation and concerning a reign, to pluck up, to pull down, and to destroy it. And that nation shall turn from its evil, because I have spoken against it. Then I shall repent of the evil that I thought to do to it. And the moment I speak concerning a nation and concerning a reign, to build and to plant it, and it shall do evil in my eyes, in not obeying my voice, then I shall repent concerning the good with which I spoke of doing to it. And now speak to the men of Yehuda and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, Thus said Jehovah, See, I am forming evil and devising a plan against you. Return now every one from his evil way, and make your ways and your deeds good. But they shall say, It is no use, for we walk according to our own plans, and we do each one's the stubbornness of his evil heart. Therefore thus said Jehovah, Ask now among the nations who has heard the like of this. The maiden of Israel has done what is most terrible, most horrible. Does the snow of Lebanon cease from the rock of the field, or the cool flowing waters from afar dry up? But my people have forgotten me. They have burned incense to what is false, and they have stumbled from their ways, from the ancient paths, to walk in bypaths and not on a highway, to make their land become a ruin, a hissing forever. Everyone who passes by it is appalled and shakes his head. I shall scatter them as with an east wind before the enemy. I shall show them the back and not the face in the day of their calamity. Then they said, Come and let us devise plans against Yirmiyahu, for the Torah shall not perish from the priest, nor counsel from the wise, nor the word from the prophet. Come and let us strike him with the tongue, and let us not listen to any of his words. Attend to me, O Jehovah, and listen to the voice of my adversaries. Should good be repaid with evil? For they have dug a pit for my life. Remember that I stood before you to speak good for them, and to turn away your wrath from them. So give their children over to scarcity of food, and hand them over to the power of the sword. Let their wives become widows and bereaved of their children. Let their men be killed to death, their young men be stricken by the sword in battle. Let a cry be heard from their houses when you bring a raiding party suddenly upon them, for they have dug a pit to take me and laid snares for my rest. But you, O Jehovah, you know all their counsel against me to slay me. Do not pardon their crookedness, nor blot out their sin from your presence, and let them be overthrown before you. Deal with them in the time of your displeasure. Thus, Jehovah, go and get a potter's earthen jug. Thus said Jehovah, go and get a potter's earthen jug and take some of the elders of the people and some of the elders of the priest. Then you shall go out to the valley of the son of Hinnom, which is by the entry of the potsherd gate, and shall proclaim there the words that I speak to you, and shall say, hear the word of Jehovah, O sovereigns of Yehuda and inhabitants of Yerushalayim. Thus said Jehovah of hosts, the Elohim of Yisrael, see, I am bringing evil on this place that makes the ears tingle of all who hear it. Because they have forsaken me and have profaned this place and have burned incense in it to the other mighty ones, whom neither they, their fathers, nor the sovereigns of Yehuda have known, but they have filled this place with the blood of innocents, and have built the high places of Baal to burn their sons with fire for sending offerings to Baal, which I did not command or speak, nor did it come into my heart. Therefore, see, the days are coming, declares Jehovah, that this place shall no more be called Topheth, or the valley of the sons of Hinnom, but rather the valley of slaughter. And I shall pour out the counsel of Yehuda and Yerushalayim in this place, and I shall make them fall by the sword before their enemies and by the hands of those who seek their lives, and I shall give their corpses as meat for the birds of the heavens and for the beasts of the earth. And I shall make this city a ruin and a hissing. Everyone who passes by it is appalled and hisses because of its plagues. And I shall make them to eat the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters, and eat one another's flesh in the siege and in distress with which their enemies and those who seek their lives distress them. And you shall break the jug before the eyes of the men who go with you, and shall say to them, thus said Jehovah of hosts, even so I break this people and this city as one breaks potter's vessel, which one is able to repair again, and let them bury them in Topheth till there is no place to bury. This is what I shall do in this place, declares Jehovah, and to its inhabitants, so as to make this city like Topheth. And the houses of Yerushalayim and the houses of the sovereigns of Yehuda shall be as unclean as the place of Topheth, because of all the houses on whose roofs they have burned incense to all the host of the heavens, and poured out drink offerings to other mighty ones. And when Yirmiyahu returned from Topheth, where Jehovah had sent him to prophesy, he stood in the courtyard of the house of Jehovah and said to all the people, thus said to Jehovah of hosts, the Elohim of Yisrael, see, I am bringing on this city and all their towns all the evil that I have pronounced against it, because they have stiffened their necks as to not hear my words. And Pashhur, son of Immer, the priest who was also chief governor in the house of Jehovah, heard that Yirmiyahu prophesied these words. And Pashhur struck Yirmiyahu the prophet, and put him in the stocks that were in the high gate of Benjamin, which was by the house of Jehovah. And it came to be on the next day that Pashhur brought Yirmiyahu out of the stocks, and Yirmiyahu said to him, Jehovah has not called your name Pashhur, but Magor Misabib. For thus said Jehovah, see, I am making you a fear to your household and to all your loved ones, and they shall fall by the sword of their enemies while your eyes see it. And I shall give all Yehuda into the hand of the sovereign of Babel, and he shall exile them to Babel, and strike them with the sword. And I shall give all the wealth of this city, and all its labor, and all its valuables, and all the treasures of the sovereigns of Yehuda, I give into the hand of their enemies, who shall plunder them, seize them, and shall bring them to Babel. And you, Pashhur, and all who dwell in your house, shall go into captivity and enter into Babel. And there you shall die and be buried there, you and your loved ones, to whom you have prophesied falsehood. O Jehovah, you enticed me, and I was enticed. You are stronger than I, and have prevailed, and have been ridiculed all day long. Everyone mocks me. And when I speak, I cry out, proclaiming violence and ruin, because the word of Jehovah was made to me a reproach and a derision daily. Whenever I said, let me not mention him, nor speak in his name again, it was in my heart like a burning fire shut up in my bones, and I became weary of holding it back, and was helpless. For I heard many mocking, fear on every side. Expose, they say. Yes, let us expose him. All my friends watched for my stumbling, saying, he might be lured away, so that we prevail against him and take our revenge on him. But Jehovah is with me like a mighty awesome one. Therefore my persecutors shall stumble and not prevail. They shall be greatly ashamed, for they have not acted wisely, an everlasting approach, never to be forgotten. O Jehovah of hosts, trying the righteous and seeing the kidneys and heart, let me see your vengeance on them, for I have revealed my cause to you. Sing to Jehovah, praise Jehovah, for he has delivered the being of the poor from the hand of evil ones. Amen. Cursed be the day in which I was born. Let the day not be blessed in which my mother bore me. Let the man be cursed who brought news to my father, saying, a male child has been born to you, making him very glad. And let the man be like the cities which Jehovah overthrew and repented not. Let him hear the cry in the morning and the shouting at noon, because I was not slain from the womb, so that my mother should have been my burial site and her womb forever great. Why did I come forth from the womb to see toil and sorrow and spend my days in shame? The word that came to Yirmiyahu from Jehovah when sovereign Sidkiyahu sent to him from Pashur, son of Melchiah, and Zephaniah, the son of Maaseiah, the priest, saying, please inquire of Jehovah on our behalf, for Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, has started fighting against us. It might be that Jehovah deals with us according to all his wondrous works, so that he withdraws from us. But Yirmiyahu said to them, say this to Sidkiyahu, thus said Jehovah, Elohim of Yisrael, I am turning back the weapons of battle that are in your hands, with which you fight against the sovereign of Babel and the Kasdim who besiege you outside the wall, and I shall gather them inside the city. And I myself shall fight against you with an outstretched hand and with a strong arm, even in displeasure and rage and great wrath. And I shall strike the inhabitants of this city, both man and beast, let them die of a great pestilence. And afterward, declares Jehovah, I give Sidkiyahu, sovereign of Yehuda, his servants and the people, and such as are left in this city, from the pestilence and the sword and the scarcity of food, into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, into the hand of their enemies, and into the hand of those who seek their life. And he shall strike them with the edge of the sword. He shall not pardon them, nor spare, nor have compassion. You shall also say to this people, thus said Jehovah, see, I set before you the way of life and the way of death. Whoever stays in this city dies by the sword, by scarcity of food, and by pestilence. But whoever goes out and shall go over to the Kasdim, who besiege you, is going to live, and his life shall be as a prize to him. For I have set my face against this city for evil and not for good, declares Jehovah. It is given into the hand of the sovereign of Babel, and he shall burn it with fire. And to the house of the sovereign of Yehuda say, hear the word of Jehovah. O house of David, thus said Jehovah, render right ruling in the morning, and deliver him who has been robbed out of the hand of the oppressor, lest my wrath go out like fire and burn, and no one to quench it because of the evil of your deeds. See, I am against you, O inhabitants of the valley, rock of the plain, declares Jehovah, who are saying, who would come down against us, and who would come into our dwelling? And I shall punish you according to the fruit of your deeds, declares Jehovah, and I shall kindle a fire in its forest, and it shall consume all that is around her. Thus said Jehovah, go down to the house of the sovereign of Yehuda, and there you shall speak this word, and shall say, hear the word of Jehovah, O sovereign of Yehuda, you who sit on the throne of David, you and your servants and your people who enter these gates. Thus said Jehovah, do right ruling and righteousness, and deliver him who is robbed out of the hand of the oppressor. Do not maltreat, nor do violence in the stranger, the fatherless, or the widow, nor shed innocent blood in this city. For if you certainly do this, then there shall enter in by the gates of this house sovereigns sitting on the thrones of David, riding on horses and in chariots, and his servants and his people. But if you do not obey these words, I swear by myself, declares Jehovah, that this house shall become a ruin. And thus said Jehovah to the house of the sovereign of Yehuda, you are like Gilad to me, the head of Lebanon, but I shall make you a wilderness, and cities which are not inhabited. And I shall prepare destroyers against you, each with his weapons, and they shall cut down your choice cedars and throw them into the fire. And many nations shall pass by this city, and they shall say to one another, why has Jehovah done this to this great city? Then they shall say, because they have forsaken the covenant of Jehovah their Elohim, and bowed themselves to other mighty ones and served them. Do not weep for the dead, nor mourn for him. Weep bitterly for him who goes away, for he shall never come back nor see the land of his birth. For thus said Jehovah concerning Shallum, son of Yoshiyahu, sovereign of Yehuda, who reigned instead of Yoshiyahu, his father, who went from this place, he shall never come back, but he shall die in the place where they have exiled him, and not see this land again. Woe to him who builds his house without righteousness, and his rooms without right ruling, who uses his neighbor's service without wages, and does not give him wages. Who says, I am going to build myself a wide house with spacious rooms, and cut out windows for it, paneling it with cedar and painting it in red. Do you reign because you enclose yourself in cedar? Did not your fathers eat and drink and do right ruling and righteousness? Then it was well with them. He defended the cause of the poor and needy. Then it was well. Was this not to know me, declares Jehovah? But your eyes and your heart are only upon your own greedy gain, and on shedding innocent blood, and on oppression, and on doing violence. Therefore thus said Jehovah concerning Jehoiakim, son of Yoshiyahu, sovereign of Yehuda, let them not lament for him, alas, my brother, or alas, my sister. Let them not lament for him, alas, master, or alas, his excellency. He shall be buried, the burial place of a donkey, dragged and thrown outside the gates of Yerushalayim. Go up to Lebanon and cry out, and lift up your voice in Bashan, and cry from Abarim, for all your lovers are destroyed. I have spoken to you in your ears, in your ease, but you said, I do not listen. This is not your way from your youth. You did not obey my voice. Let all your shepherds be devoured by the wind, and your lovers go into captivity. Then you shall be ashamed and humiliated for all your evil. You who dwell in Lebanon, being nested in the cedars, how you shall groan when pangs come upon you, like the pains of a woman giving birth. And I live, declares Jehovah, though Konyahu, son of Jehoiakim, sovereign of Yehuda, were the signet ring on my right hand, I would still pull you off from there. going. And I shall give you into the hand of those who seek your life, and into the hand of those whose face you fear, into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, and the hand of the Casdim. And I shall hurl you out, and your mother who bore you, into another land where you were not born, and there you shall die. But there shall not return to the land to which their beings yearns to return. Is this man, Konyahu, a despised broken pot, or an undesirable vessel? Why are they hurled out, he and his descendants, and cast into a land which they do not know? O land, 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 hear the word of Jehovah. Thus said Jehovah, write this man down as childless, a strong man who is not to prosper in his days, for none of his descendants shall prosper, sitting on the throne of David, or rule any more in Yehudah.